Some people use debt to make themselves richer, while most use debt to make their banker richer. Think about that for a second. Two people can borrow the same dollar. One comes out with more freedom. The other comes out with more chains. The difference isn't luck, it's strategy. And here's the painful truth. If you don't understand that difference, you'll spend your whole life working just to stay broke. You'll wake up, punch the clock, pay the bills, make the minimum payments, and wonder why the finish line keeps moving further away. Because while you're financing cars, phones, and vacations, the wealthy are financing assets that pay them back. You're working for money. They're making money work for them. This is the wealthy edge. If you're serious about building wealth instead of just looking wealthy, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now, because here we reveal the money games the rich play, the ones schools never teach you, the banks hope you never learn, and the habits that can shift you from surviving to thriving. Debt has two faces. One can build you, while the other can break you. Let's be real. Debt isn't just a credit card swipe or a car loan. Debt is a tool. The problem? Most people use it like a hammer, smashing their own finances. But the wealthy, they use it like a scalpel, carefully, precisely, to build fortunes. Here's the difference. When most people think about debt, they think about owing money. They think about monthly payments, credit card bills, car notes, mortgages that never seem to end. Debt feels heavy, like a ball and chain around your ankle. But to the wealthy, debt isn't a chain, it's a lever. And if you know anything about levers, you know they can move mountains. The rich use debt to lift themselves higher, without carrying the same weight most people do. Take Elon Musk. When he was building Tesla, he didn't ask for a salary. Why? Because salaries are the most heavily taxed form of income. Every dollar you earn from your paycheck gets sliced before it even hits your account. And the more you earn, the bigger the bite. Instead, Musk negotiated for stock options. That's ownership. That's equity. That's wealth that grows as the company grows. And when Tesla's stock exploded, Musk didn't cash out. He didn't sell his shares, because selling would trigger taxes. Instead, he borrowed against them. Here's why that's genius. A loan isn't income, which means it's not taxable. Think about that. He can walk into a bank, put billions in Tesla stock on the table as collateral, and walk out with $1 billion loan. Now he has cash to live on, without triggering a massive tax bill. It's like playing Monopoly. Most people sell off their houses to cover their bills, but the wealthy, they mortgage those houses, take out cash, and keep playing, while still holding on to their properties. Or picture this. Imagine you own an apple tree. The average person cuts it down for firewood when they need quick money. That tree's gone forever. But the wealthy, they borrow against the apples, keep the tree standing, and now every year the harvest gets bigger. That's the two faces of debt. For the average person, debt feels like a weight, pulling them deeper into the rat race. But for the wealthy, it's a ladder, helping them climb even higher. And that's the part schools never teach, because the system is designed to make you think debt only works one way, the way that benefits the banks. But once you see the other side of it, you realize debt isn't good or bad by itself. It's how you use it that decides whether it makes you rich or keeps you broke. Now let's see how most people deal with debt and why they almost always end up stuck in the trap. The average person earns about $50,000 a year, but they don't stop there. They borrow another $50,000 through credit cards, personal loans, car financing, and sometimes even store credit lines. Suddenly, they're living a $100,000 lifestyle on a $50,000 income. On paper, it feels good. They drive the nicer car, they take the vacations, they wear the brand name clothes, they snap the pictures for Instagram. For a moment, it feels like they're keeping up with the people they admire. But at the end of the day, the banker gets rich, and they get stress, because every paycheck is already spoken for before it even arrives. Rent, car notes, minimum payments, student loans, credit card bills, and whatever's left is gone in days. It's like renting a mansion for the weekend, while your own house is falling apart. Sure, you get the photos, but you don't get the foundation. Think about it. The wealthy borrow money against assets that grow in value. The average person borrows money to buy things that lose value the moment they swipe the card. A car loses value the second you drive it off the lot. Clothes go out of style the moment you cut the tags. Vacations, they're over in a week, but the debt can last for years, and the banks know this game better than anyone. They're not lending you money to make you rich. They're lending you money because it makes them rich. If you carry $8,000 in credit card debt, with interest rates around 25%, and you only make minimum payments, you'll end up paying more than $5,000 in interest on top of the debt. That's like buying everything you already bought twice. It's like being thirsty, seeing a bottle of water for $1 and paying $2 for it just because you didn't want to wait. That's how debt traps work. And here's the kicker. When the average person borrows, they're not just paying back the loan, they're paying back the interest, which means they're working extra hours, spending extra years of their life just to make the banker richer. So while Elon Musk is leveraging debt to unlock billions without paying taxes, the average person is leveraging debt to buy a car that's worth less every single day. One plays chess, the other plays checkers, and the board is tilted in favor of the bank. This is why so many people feel like they're running on a treadmill. They're moving fast, but they're not going anywhere, because when you live on borrowed money for a lifestyle you can't afford, you're not building wealth, you're just renting it. Let's talk about what I like to call the amplifier effect of debt. Here's the truth. Debt doesn't just sit there. It amplifies everything. Use it wisely, and it can multiply your wealth. Mess it up, and it multiplies your mistakes. Think about a microphone. If someone sings beautifully into it, the sound fills the entire stadium. But if they scream off key, that same microphone makes every ear in the crowd hurt. Debt is that microphone for your money habits. Whatever you put in, good or bad, comes out louder. Let me break it down. If you've got solid financial habits, saving, investing, buying assets that grow in value, then debt can actually act like fuel. It helps you build faster. It's like adding fertilizer to a healthy plant. It grows stronger and taller. But if your habits are weak, impulse spending, financing liabilities, chasing short-term pleasures, debt just magnifies that weakness. Suddenly, every bad decision costs double. It's like giving a teenager a sports car. If they know how to drive responsibly, they'll enjoy the ride. But if they don't, the crash is almost guaranteed. Here's a real-world example. Say you borrow $200,000 to buy a rental property that produces steady income. That debt is tied to an asset that's working for you. Over time, the property pays for itself and even generates profit. That's debt amplifying your discipline. Now flip the script. Say you borrow $50,000 to buy a luxury car. The moment you drive it off the lot, it's worth less. Meanwhile, you're locked into years of payments, plus interest, plus insurance, plus maintenance. That's debt amplifying your mistake. The bank smiles, you stress. It's like fire. In a fireplace, fire keeps your house warm. But if you drop that same fire on the carpet, it burns the whole place down. The fire itself isn't good or bad. It just amplifies the environment it's in. That's how debt works. Put it into a system of discipline, and it multiplies your wealth. Put it into a system of bad habits, and it multiplies your struggle. So the real question isn't, is debt good or bad? The real question is, what kind of habits are you feeding into the microphone? Let's talk about some simple rules when it comes to debt. Here's the deal. Debt can either lift you up or drag you down. So how do you make sure it's working for you, not against you? That's exactly why having a few clear rules is so important. Rule number 1, don't finance liabilities. If it doesn't put money in your pocket, don't finance it, period. Cars, vacations, clothes, furniture, the latest phone, these are all things that go down in value the moment you buy them. They're not investments, they're expenses. Now I know what you might be thinking, but what about 0% APR? Isn't that free money? That's the trap. Companies aren't offering you 0% interest out of generosity. They know something you don't. When you don't feel the pain of paying full price up front, you spend more. Think about it. If you walk into an Apple store and drop $1,200 cash on a phone, you're going to hesitate before adding $80 headphones or a $60 case. But if you're only paying $50 a month, suddenly those add-ons feel affordable. That's not savings, that's psychology. And the other kicker, a lot of people don't pay it off in time, and once you miss that deadline, the company slaps on 20–30% interest. Suddenly that free iPhone just cost you hundreds, maybe even thousands more. So here's the rule of thumb. If it doesn't generate income, if it doesn't produce value, don't finance it, buy it in cash, or don't buy it at all. Rule number 2, the rule of 5. If you can't buy 5 of it, you can't afford 1 of it. It sounds extreme, but it's a simple way to test whether something is truly affordable. That $50,000 BMW, you should have at least $250,000 sitting somewhere before you even think about it. Why? Because wealth isn't built on stretching to afford payments. Wealth is built on margin, on space between what you earn and what you spend. Otherwise, you're not buying the car, you're buying the image, you're buying the feeling of looking successful, while locking yourself into years of debt. It's like putting luxury shoes on a cracked sidewalk. Sure, it looks good for the photo, but the ground underneath is still crumbling. I'll be honest, I've been driving the same old Toyota for years. A few scratches, some dents, nothing fancy. Meanwhile, my friends and colleagues are cruising around in shiny new cars, and yeah, I could afford one too. But honestly, I'd rather focus on building assets than on keeping up appearances. The rule of 5 keeps you honest. If you can't buy 5, don't buy 1. Rule number 3, only use debt to grow proven assets. This one's critical. Debt should never be used to start an untested idea, because when you're just starting out, whether it's a business or real estate, you will make mistakes. And if you're using borrowed money, those mistakes don't just cost you cash. They follow you home in the form of monthly payments you can't escape. Think about it like fire. If you've already got a strong flame going, pouring gasoline makes it bigger, brighter, hotter. That's using debt to scale something proven. But if you're still struggling to spark that first flame, and you dump gasoline on it, you don't get a fire, you just get an explosion. So use debt only when the foundation is solid, when you've already proven the business works, when the property already generates cash flow. That way the borrowed money is fuel, not dynamite. These 3 rules are simple, but they protect you from falling into the traps that keep millions broke for life. Don't finance liabilities, follow the rule of 5, and only use debt to grow what's already proven. Follow those, and you stop being the banker's customer, and start thinking like the banker. Big picture, here's the bottom line. Debt is like fire. In the right hands it cooks your meal. In the wrong hands it burns down your house. Think about that. Fire isn't good or bad, it just is. In the hands of a skilled chef, it creates a feast. In the hands of someone careless, it destroys everything they worked for. Debt works the same way. The wealthy play this game with precision. They borrow not to consume, but to grow. They use debt as a shield, to avoid massive tax bills. They use debt as a ladder, to acquire assets that create more cash flow. They use debt as leverage, to scale what's already working. Meanwhile, most people play the opposite game. They use debt to finance lifestyles. Cars, clothes, phones, trips, things that look good today, but lose value tomorrow. And in doing so, they don't climb out of the rat race, they run faster inside it. Here's the irony. Both groups borrow money, but one group borrows to build, the other borrows to consume. One borrows against assets, the other borrows against paychecks. One walks into the bank with leverage, the other walks in with hat in hand, and the result, the bank always gets paid. Either way, if you borrow to build, you keep part of the reward. If you borrow to consume, you keep all the stress. It's like 2 people holding the same match. One lights a candle, the other lights a wildfire. So the question isn't whether you should avoid debt altogether. The question is, are you using it to create freedom or to buy appearances? Because at the end of the day, wealth isn't about what you can finance, it's about what you can own. It's not about the lifestyle you show off, It's about the assets you build quietly. And until you understand that, you'll always be working for money, instead of making money work for you. So let me ask you this. Do you think the system is truly built to make you wealthy? Or is it designed to make your banker wealthy? Because every swipe, every payment plan, every interest charge tells a story. And most of the time, that story doesn't end with your freedom, it ends with their profit. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear what side you're on. Do you believe the system is neutral, or do you think it's tilted to keep the average person stuck? Let's spark that conversation, because awareness is the first step to breaking free. And remember, most people spend their entire lives working to make the bank richer. But here on The Wealthy Edge, we're committed to giving you the tools, the mindset, and the strategies to make you richer. So if you're tired of running in place, hit that subscribe button right now, because financial freedom isn't about looking rich for a moment, it's about being rich for a lifetime.